Hey, beautiful people. It is Monday, so I hope that y'all are having a good week. We're going to just talk about a little bit of Trump news. Now, lately, I've been having technical difficulties, so I pray that this will work out tonight. And everything I share is for educational freeze purposes, just for conversation, not to cause division. Okay, let me try this. Chakra King Black, I don't know how the stream is going to work out. I've been having some technical difficulties lately. What's good with you? All right, we're going to try it though. Let me see if I can do it justice. Chris, we're going to talk about Donald Trump. All right.
Walking the red carpet. This comes as the center smashed fundraising records with a $23 million haul, nearly double from the Biden era. Trump's expanded role at the center has caused outrage among the far left, but it appears to be producing tremendous results. President Trump is hosting tonight, where George Strait, Kiss, Michael Crawford, Gloria Gaynor, and Sylvester Stallone will be honored. And look at the beautiful First Lady and the President of the United States there.
Can y'all see it or no? Is it big?
You're a man of fashion. Let's get the fashion rundown of what we're seeing.
Oh, I'm looking at a 10 out of 10 in both cases. You know, the president always wears a nice tux, but can you ever say enough about the grace, elegance, and beauty of the First Lady? You want to talk about history? We'll look back at this time and say, I just don't know that there's ever been a more regal First Lady. And of course, once again tonight, she looks fantastic.
We've raised a tremendous amount of money tonight for the building itself and for charities overall, and we're really happy. It's been you see the way it's been received. It's been like it's never been before. And this building, this beautiful building, is going to be brought back to life. We've already started, and it'll be better than it was from day one.
Do you think these honors represent storytelling of American legends? What do these honorees represent to you tonight here at the Kennedy Center?
Well, we have great honorees. This is a group that really is unique. I think it's one of the, look, over the years I've been watching, and you've had some wonderful honorees, but I think this is really very much unparalleled. So we're going to see how it turns out. I think it's going to be a great evening.
And First Lady Melania, can I ask you about your upcoming video? Can you tell us anything about that, your film?
My film will be out on January 30th. So I'm looking forward to it, and I hope people will come and see it. It will be 20 days in my busy life before inauguration.
We look forward to seeing that. And what does tonight mean to you? You have celebrated the arts and design as part of your journey. Tell us what tonight means to you here at the Kennedy
Well, it
Center.
really means we're bringing back the Capitol, Washington, D.C. If you look back a year ago, it was a very unsafe place. Beautiful, but unsafe, but it wasn't properly kept. It was not in good condition. Now it's in very good condition. And as you know, crime has been brought down to a level that nobody's ever seen here before. So we're very proud of that. Thank you very much.
Do you think, Mr. President,
what do you think of the Netflix Warner Brothers deal?
Trump Kennedy Center, Mr. President, do you
Say
think?
it.
Do you think the center will eventually be named the Trump Kennedy Center?
I don't know. I hear that, but I don't know. That's not up to me. That's up to the board. The board makes that decision. We have a very prestigious board. If you look at the names, I don't think there's a board like it. So that would be up to the board. Thank you.
Are you willing to take a foreign policy question?
Say it.
Foreign policy question?
Well,
Block
maybe
and
not.
reporting for Korean politics.
This is about the Kennedy Center. Okay. Thank you.
What about Netflix and Warner Brothers?
Well, that's got to go through a process, and we'll see what happens. Netflix, a great company. They've done a phenomenal job. Ted is a fantastic man. I have a lot of respect for him, but it's a lot of market share. So we'll have to see what happens.
President Trump, who's on your list for next year's Kennedy Center honors event?
I looked at a list today. I can't tell you that yet, but a lot of people want to be on my list. You'd like to be on the list.
I don't know about that, but I have a question for you, Mr. President. How have you prepared to host tonight?
Well, maybe I haven't prepared. Maybe you want to be a little bit loose. If you look at the great hosts, Johnny Carson, Bob Hope, those are the greats. If you look at the not so greats like Jimmy Kimmel, he was just terrible. But no, I think you want to be just loose and not a lot to prepare for. Really.
I've been asking,
you know what you have to be? You have to be yourself.
I've been asking your cabinet tonight, is this going to be more Johnny Carson or Don Rickles?
Well, Don, I knew them both, and they were both great guys and friends of mine. Both difficult, very difficult, but great. I mean, I was really very close to both of them. You can't compare them. They were very different.
Why did you want
But Johnny Carson for hosting was top of the line.
President Trump, Jesse Waters has a question for you. What was your favorite moment of 2025? It was a big year.
I think when Jesse Waters interviewed me, it was such a phenomenal interview. He's a great guy, and you're a great guy. You're doing a very good job out there. I'm proud of you.
Thank you so much, President Trump. Who is on your naughty list this year?
You guys, please double tap the screen. I have a lot of people that flags my videos just because I talk about Donald Trump. So please show your support. Thank you.
Oh, that's a long list. I better not tell you it's not a problem out there in the world. No, we have a pretty big naughty list. But our country is doing well. We're the hottest country anywhere in the world right now. And a year ago, we were a dead country. We were a dead country that was laughed at all over the world. We're the hottest country in the world.
What would be the
And
implications?
Jesse Waters is terrific.
What are you
What
getting
would be
the
the
first lady?
implications, Mr. President, of the Supreme Court overturning your authority on the tariffs, the emergency authority? What would be the implications for the economy and for the country?
Well, we have a right to go a different form of tariffs. We have a right to go licensing. We have a right to go other ways. But the form of tariffing, as we call it, the current form of tariffing that's before the court gives us great national security, more than anything else, because it allows the president to act quickly and effectively, swiftly, and make a decision. And as you know, I ended 8 wars. We're trying to end a 9th, and we thought this would be maybe one of the easier ones. We just did Rwanda and Congo.
Wow.
And that was going on for 30 years. The Russia-Ukraine, I thought was going to be a little bit easier, but it's not being made easy. It's a very tough war, very nasty. 27,000 people died last month, mostly soldiers. I will say that I really think this is really a night of joy tonight because of what's happening with this building. It's going to be fantastic when you see the end product. It's going to be better than it was new, and I think we'll celebrate that. But I will say that
Donald Trump said he ended 8. Was it 8 or 9? I know the last thing was Rwanda. But if you guys say he's lying, what is he lying about?
our country is doing really well.
Some Republicans have expressed concern about using the tariffs, the revenue for a dividend, saying we should be paying down the national debt.
Well, we will.
What's
I
your
agree with
thought
them on that, but I also think that, we're making so much money with tariffs that we'll also be able to make a nice dividend to middle-income people. We're talking about middle-income and lower-income people. We're not talking about dividends to rich people. But there's so much money being made from the tariffs, and countries that were taking advantage of us for many, many years are not taking advantage of us anymore. We're taking in tremendous amounts of money from countries that we were losing lots of money to. And you know what? They're okay with it. They're not complaining. They're not complaining about the tariffs. They'd rather not have them, but they're not
Good evening. I'm Ross. I see you. I see you guys. Hi.
saying there's anything wrong. And the big thing is, in the court, we have tremendous flexibility with the current system. It's unbelievable for national security. I've ended 8 wars, largely because of trade and because of tariffs. If we go the other tariff route, and there are other routes we can go, but it won't give you the same pure national security as this one. This one is swift and very powerful.
Mr. President, what's the next step in Russia-Ukraine talks? What's your next step in Russia-Ukraine talks after last week's negotiations?
So we've been speaking to President Putin, and we've been speaking to Ukrainian leaders, including Zelensky, President Zelensky. And I have to say that I'm a little bit disappointed that President Zelensky hasn't yet read the proposal. That was as of a few hours ago. His people love it, but he hasn't. Russia's fine with it. Russia, I guess, would rather have the whole country when you think of it. But Russia is, I believe, fine with it, but I'm not sure that Zelensky's fine with it. His people love it, but he hasn't read it. So someday you'll explain that one to me, Jeff.
I don't have an explanation, sir. What's the next step in that process?
Raymond, thank you very much. Good job you're doing. Say hello.
Thank you. What would you like to
Everyone
see
crack
Sylvester
news. I
Stallone
see
do
you.
as a Hollywood ambassador in Hollywood?
He is automatic. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he is one of the ambassadors, as you know. And he's already been doing that. Look, all he has to do is be himself. If Sly is himself, that's all he can be. If he tries to be somebody else, it wouldn't be good. He's a great guy. He's done a fantastic job, and he really deserves this honor. You know, it's something he's wanted for years. And this is bigger than it's ever been. I mean, I don't want to say why. I refuse to say why. But you take a look at this line. Last year, if you look at this line, it was not this.
Mr. President,
it was a different thing.
why are you and the First Lady expending so much time, so much energy in revivifying and remaking the Kennedy Center?
It's not the Kennedys. Look, Bobby Jr. is doing a fantastic job. It's not the Kennedys. It's our country. We're bringing our country back, and we're bringing D.C. back, Washington, D.C. We're bringing our capital. It's a safe place now.
No, I mean the
It was a very
Kennedy Center,
unsafe.
the center itself. Why are you so focused on revivifying?
Because it could never be built again. It's got three massive places, call them. You have different stages, dance, theater, and you have a place that we're going to be in tonight that there's really nothing like it in the country. And if this disappeared, you'd never be able to build it again. And I'm able to save it because that's what I used to do for a living, really, is, well, maybe better than anybody else. I could take something and spend less money than other people and make it better than anybody else could. The Kennedy Center has a chance to be unbelievable. And, you know, I mentioned yesterday something very important, sound. It's like sometimes you could say, like people, you either have it or you don't. Great sound in this building. A lot of times, and you know the Lincoln Center saga, they've rebuilt one building, most important building, they rebuilt it 4 times, and they've never been able to produce really great sound. The sound in the Kennedy Center has been incredible from day one. Call it luck or talent. Probably luck. There's a lot of luck involved. You know, the great sound buildings, the greatest in the world, are the old opera houses built in the 17 and 1800s in Europe. And they had one thing that was in common, lots of marble.
You're welcome, Hello Kitty.
And they didn't have sound engineers. They had lots of marble. And this has got great sound. Even right here in the hallway, the sound is fantastic. Thank you very much, Raymond.
Madam First Lady, President Trump, do you want?
Personal playlist. I'm just curious to know how they have impacted your own personal enjoyment of art.
Well, are you talking about the 5 honorees, or the group and the 5 honorees? They are outstanding people. I had to approve them all. And every one of them, very different. I said last night, totally different audience. But when you add them up, they're 100% of our country and a big percentage of the world. So we have great honorees. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to have a good time tonight.
Mr. President, we know that you like the art. Could you imagine, Mr. President, and now we know that you've hosted before, The Apprentice, for many years. Could you imagine next year, maybe you're not hosting, but maybe you receiving the Kennedy Center honor?
That's an interesting one. I haven't thought of that. Yeah, I think I'm going to nominate myself for next year.
Mr. President, every day you have such a big job being the president. Why was it important for you to actually host the show tonight? And how much time did you spend getting ready for it?
Well, it wasn't important for me other than if I get much higher ratings, if it's a more successful show that I'm contributing. I get nothing. I don't make money with it. I don't do anything. It's a little bit of work, not a lot of work. I look forward to doing it, but the network said, would it be possible to get the president to host? And I love the concept of no president has ever hosted the Kennedy Center honorees. And it's very important that this building be great and that this building remain really, you know, I saved the building. You know, we raised a lot of money tonight, tremendous record numbers of dollars, a lot of money. And we've raised over $100 million over the last very short period of time. That's a lot of money. And that money goes into the rejuvenation and the rebuilding of the building. And a lot of it's already taken place. A lot of the things that you don't see have already taken place.
Mr. President, and your words as you're saving the building, when will locals who come to the Kennedy Center, who live here, when will we start to see all of the changes? And do you have a timeline for when this will all be wrapped up?
Over the next 4 or 5 months, we're going to have it very well set. You see the outside, the columns, they're beautiful. You know, they had a fake gold color and now they're beautiful gleaming white. And everyone's talking about that. It sounds like not much of a change. It's a massive change. You know, the white against the white marble. The marble is being rejuvenated. They're great pieces of marble, but they've been let go and they've been tired. And I always say you could take a 100th of an inch off of a piece of marble and you have a brand new piece of marble, but nobody does that. It's not an easy process. But if you look on the outside of the building, people see already a very big difference.
Is the First Lady involved in the style and the change that's happening here?
Yeah, she's got great taste. I'll ask her. I'll ask her opinion. She liked the white as opposed to the fake gold. But they had the fake gold. You know, the one thing about gold, you can never imitate real gold. They've tried to do it for years. Paint, gold paint. Gold paint never works.
Mr. President.
You got to go for the real 24 karat gold. Yes.
Yes, sir. Is there another president other than yourself who you think would have done a good job hosting the Kennedy Center?
Hosting, yes. Building, no.
Mr. President.
You have a couple of, politicians.
Mr.
They're very good on their feet, most of them.
Could you name one?
I would say the last one wouldn't have done too well hosting. But you know, we've had some great politicians. Excuse me, John F. Kennedy would have done a very good job hosting. But building, no. No, I will build better than anybody. I build better than anybody. Thank you.
Mr. President, $23 million was made tonight, nearly doubling. $23 million was made tonight, nearly doubling last year.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Maybe we had something to do with it. I don't know. We doubled up last year. It's really much more than that because we've done over 100, not including tonight. We've done over $100 million already. And those are numbers that the Kennedy Center has never seen before. It's doing really well. Thank you for that question.
And the big beautiful ballroom for the White House, how is this tied into?
You've done so much for American greatness. Talk to the next generation about how important the values are that you're celebrating tonight are to American greatness. Things like self-discipline, creativity, talent, those things.
Well, the young generation, I think, is going to grow up strong. We have a very different country than we had a year ago. A year ago, we had a country that was in big trouble. Now we have a country that's the talk of the world, and everybody's respecting us again, and young people are respecting us again too. I won the young vote. The Republicans never win the young vote. I won it easily, and I want to thank Charlie, and I want to thank TikTok, and there are a lot of reasons for it. But there's never been a Republican who won the young vote, and I won the very young vote. So that's a good sign.
Mr. President.
Why did you select KISS, Mr. President? Why did you select KISS for Be Honor this evening? Do you have a favorite KISS song?
Well, I like them as people. I've listened to their music over the years. They are characters too, really are. I don't know if you saw last night the speeches. They were great. They really made some great speeches last night. And they're very popular. A lot of people write in and ask us to select. So, like, think of it. Sylvester Stallone was not paid for any of this stuff. He's one of the greatest movie stars of all time, based on revenue, based on, Rocky and Rambo and the numbers. No, I doubt. Maybe there's a couple of stars that have done something equal, but really there's nothing like it. So we're going to have a very exciting night. But KISS is terrific.
Mr. President,
two questions. What are you looking forward to most about hosting tonight? And number two, Secretary Duffy says you are the master of the playlist out on the Rose Garden Club. What's your favorite song to listen to on the Rose Garden?
Well, I have so many different songs. And I mean, look, Lee Greenwood really hit big with that. It was from day one. We put it on the first rally and we never took it off, and he's great. But I have a lot of favorites, and I can tell you that we both love Elton John, special man, special guy, and he's really talented. We like a lot of different, I like a lot of different songs, a lot of different types of music. I have a good playlist. Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. President,
what would you like to see for America 250?
He's trying to go so bad.
What would you like to see?
Well, we're going to have a lot of events. One of the things you're going to have here is some of the UFC press. You're going to have the fighters coming over talking about the fights. It's a big deal. The UFC on June 14th. It's going to be June 14th next year. They're building an arena. The great Dana White's building an arena. And they're going to have 8 or 9 championship fights, the biggest fights they've ever had. Everyone's a championship fight. And everyone's a legendary type of fight. He's actually holding back fights right now for 6 months so he can do it for this, the 250. I think 250 is going to be amazing. I think the arena is going to be 5,000 or 6,000 seats right in front of the front door of the White House, and 100,000 people in the back where they're putting up 8 or 10 very big screens. That's going to be an exciting night. So many people are asking for tickets to UFC. Thank you.
Mr. President, you mentioned some of your favorite songs.
I did. I met with Ted. I think he's fantastic. I think he's in the history of Hollywood. There's really been almost, you could say, nothing like what he's done. You'd go back to Louis B. Mayer, maybe, Metro Goldwyn Mayer, MGM. Ted has done an incredible job. I mean, he had a company that was very troubled 7 or 8 years ago, and he took it over, and he's really done a legendary job.
Should they be allowed to buy Warner Brothers? Should Netflix?
Well, that's the question. They have a very big market share. And when they have Warner Brothers, that share goes up a lot. So I don't know. That's going to be for some economists to tell. And also, and I'll be involved in that decision too.
Did
But
they
have a very big market share.
Did he make any guarantees to you about the merger if they do merge?
No, not at all. He came up. He was in the Oval Office last week. I have a lot of respect for him. He's a great person, but he's done one of the greatest jobs in the history of movies and other things. He's got a lot of interesting things happening aside from what you're talking about. But it is a big market share. There's no question about it. It could be a problem.
Mr.
Yes.
President, you mentioned some of your favorite songs. In your opinion, what makes a song great?
Well, it's something that has to be soft and soothing to your ear. I like some songs that other people don't like, It's why they have, you ever hear the expression, that's why they have menus in restaurants. We're all different. We all order different things. Otherwise, you just serve one meal and that would be it.
Are you a country music fan?
But I love country music. And we have the king of country music tonight. That's another one.
President Trump, will you rename the Kennedy Center the Trump Center?
It's not up to me. We have a board of 40 people that are really the most prestigious people in the United States. We have the honorary chairwoman on the board, right? As the first lady, she's honorary chairwoman. But it's a really prestigious board, and that's up to them. I don't know what they're doing about that.
And can you tell us about
to name the Opera House
Look, we are saving the Kennedy Center.
and can you tell us how did you choose the nominees today, the winners today?
Yeah, we went through probably 50 different names. We were politicked by a lot of people, some of them the stars themselves. But we went through 50 names and we picked the 5, and we're very happy with it. It's really very different audiences. But as I said, just down the line, they're different audiences, but when you add them up, it's 100% of the public. Thank you.
Is the Opera House be renamed after Melania?
What did you talk about with Prime Minister Carney and Mexican President Sheinbaum when you were here just a few days earlier?
Mexico and Canada, we met with the, as you know, I mean, it was pretty well, a lot of people were here, right here we met. And the Prime Minister of Canada, President of Mexico, and we spoke for a half hour. Very good, very productive. Talked mostly trade.
Will you restart negotiations with Canada?
Look, I have a great relationship with Canada. They're very tough traders, but I have a very good relationship with the Prime Minister and with Canada.
And you had said you would halt those negotiations earlier after the tariff.
Well, I have halted them.
And so will you restart them?
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, the problem is Canada makes a lot of things that we don't need because we make them also. But we'll work it out. Look, Canada's a special place, and they really are good at ice hockey, aren't they?
Mr. President, what is more difficult, Mr. President, hosting the Kennedy Center honors or preparing for the State of the Union?
Well, could I answer that question after the show's over?
If you give it to me, absolutely.
I'll give it to you
Mr.
after the show's
Thanks.
over.
What's more
This
difficult?
is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I hosted The Apprentice when it was the #1 show on television. We did 42.5 million people that night. It was a little different television than it is today.
What are
More
you-
people watching in those days?
Are you
What are you
regretting
expecting, Mr. President, in terms of ratings for this year's Kennedy Center
I think it'll
honors?
be great. I think it's going to be great. Ratings are complicated now because you have streaming added on and everything else, but I think it'll do very big. I mean, just look, just based on what you see right here. If you came here last year, you saw a line that was about 1/10 this size. You weren't even here last year, right?
I was here.
Mr. President,
How do you prepare for hosting this year's Kennedy Center honors? You had so much on your plate. Where do you make the
I have a
time?
lot on my plate, and I didn't really prepare very much. I read a little bit. I have a good memory, so I can remember things, which is very fortunate. But I want to just be myself. And so you have to be yourself.
Thank
Johnny
you.
Carson, he was himself. Thank you, everybody.
During the last time you stayed away.
From politicization, do you think the Kennedy Center is now better serving all Americans?
I think it is. I think it's been really enhanced very greatly over the last 10 months, meaning since we've been here. And we're
Very
making it
beautiful.
great. We're going to make it physically great as a building. So you won't even believe how beautiful it'll be. And we saved the Kennedy Center. That's a big thing. Thank you.
So during your first time you stayed away from the awards,
Is he gone? He's done.
Hey, Sean
that's a
Hannity
lot.
here. Hey, click
That's a
here
lot.
to
Hang on, you guys.
subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest
No, I
interviews.
don't know how to get out of this one. Give me a second. How do I get out of here? Let me see something. I don't know if I'll be able to get through this next. Wait a second. How do I? Yeah. I don't know if I'll be able to get through this next one with you guys. It's getting late. Everything I share for educational phrase purposes only, okay? Hopefully.
Request to end the gasoline-powered car. This is what they wanted to do, even
We're
though
not
we have
finished
more
this one yet.
gasoline than any other country by far. And people want the gasoline car. They want everything. They want electric. They want to have lots of alternatives, but they do want the gasoline car. Right now, it's leading away by a lot.
Can you hear it?
The
Thank you, Joel. Wait, it's not playing. What happened? Why isn't it playing? I don't know. Oh, it's my internet. Hold on.
the car business is a very interesting business, but we want to keep it that way. I
Yeah,
want to thank
beautiful.
Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy, Deputy Transportation Secretary Stephen
Hey, I'll be the
Bradbury,
truth.
as well as CEO of Ford, Jim Farley. Jim, where is Jim? Let's see.
So he's going to talk
Jim,
about the things that's happening,
congratulations. You're
right?
doing a great job. CEO of Stellantis, Antonio
What do I think about
Filosa.
the situation with Trump?
Thank you very much, Antonio. Chairman of the National Automobile Dealers Association, Tom Castrida.
Yes, sir.
Thank you
Yes, sir.
very
Yes, sir.
much, Tom. Great to have you. And Manager of General Motors Orient Plant, John Urbanek.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Great to have you guys here.
I think the situation
I'm going to
with
say a
mine
few
is
words in a minute about
loaded.
how ridiculous this was, but
Fast forward.
we've just freed you up. So
I
we're
think
going
it's
to have a good
loaded with
day,
the Somalians.
have a good number of
and,
years. Thanks as well to Senator Shelley Moore. After falling by 5% under Biden, U.S. auto production, they were doing to the costs
There we go.
and actually making the car much worse. But these policies forced automakers to build cars using expensive technologies that drove up costs, drove up prices, and made the car much worse. The action is expected to save the typical consumer at least $1,000 off the price of a new car, and we think substantially more than that. Under the Trump administration, $70 billion are now being invested in the American auto industry. Ford has announced it will invest $5 billion across its Kentucky and Michigan plants. Is that a correct statement?
That's right.
That's a lot, $5 billion. You could do more. Creating at least 4,000 new jobs. Stellantis announced that it will invest $13 billion to expand its U.S.-based manufacturing by more than 50% and open new manufacturing facilities across the country. And I think a big part of that is also the tariffs. Because of tariffs, they're coming in, not only the automobile industry, AI, we're leading China in AI, we're leading everybody in AI, we're leading everybody in everything. We have the hottest country right now. I will tell you, a lot of political people behind me, great political people, very successful political people. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. 1 year ago, we had a dead country. And now we have the hottest country anywhere in the world. And it started from November 5th, but it also started when we did the tariffs, and we've had tremendous support on the tariffs. It's bringing in trillions of dollars of wealth. It's bringing in national security. And I've stopped 8 wars, and of the 8 wars, 5 of them have been because of tariffs and trade. So they're very important. And General Motors plans to invest $4 billion as it brings its manufacturing back to the United States from Mexico. After falling by 5% under Biden, U.S. auto production has surged by 10% so far this year. You know, I won the auto workers vote, but now even the head of the auto workers said Trump is the greatest president we've ever seen. and happens to be right about that. But we're protecting our auto workers, and we're making it easier for every family to afford high-quality cars. In other words, we're bringing automobiles back and the manufacturing of automobiles back into this country. We lost 52% over the years, 52% of our automobile manufacturing. You see it, closed factories all over the place. Now they're all opening up. They're being, in most cases, they're being knocked down, and new ones are being built in their place. And a big beneficiary is the state of Michigan, but South Carolina, even states that didn't really do too much with the automobiles, they're opening up plants. It's been amazing. So between automobile plants, AI plants, and plants of every other nation, really every other type, including chips, we're going to have a big percentage of the chip market very soon, not because of the CHIPS Act, which was horrible and ridiculous, where we just gave these companies billions and billions of dollars and they just kept the money, but because of what we did with tariffs. They have to build here, otherwise they're going to have to pay tariffs. They won't be able to do business in the United States. And we're going to have a big percentage of the chip industry. As of about a year ago, 2 years ago, we had none. And now we're going to have a very big percentage when it all finishes out. So I'd like to ask Secretary Duffy to speak, and then Mr. Farley, and then Filosa, and Urbanik, and Castrita. And also, we're going to ask some of our political leaders to speak, because let me tell you, they went out of their way. This was not easy. People were brainwashed. This is a green new scam. And people were paying too much for a car that didn't work as well. And now they're going to have a great car that's going to be environmentally friendly, but it's going to cost you a lot less, and it's going to work great. All of the nonsense is being taken out of the cars. So, Secretary Duffy, could you say a few words?
Thank you, Mr. President. So yesterday at the cabinet meeting, the president was talking about affordability, and the way that Democrats talk about affordability is a lie. Today is a perfect example of that. So these CAFE standards used what was contrary to the law. The Congress set a rule that says you have to look at combustion engines. Biden and Buttigieg actually did an analysis using
Edge,
I'm sorry. Edge used EVs and hybrids to come up with a 62 mile an hour per gallon standard, which I think the car companies will tell you is completely unattainable. So they spent a lot of money on technology trying to meet the unattainable standard, driving up the cost of a car, number one. And then number two, if they couldn't meet the unattainable standard, they had to trade for carbon, costing billions of dollars, and again, driving up the price of the car. So, Mr. President, what Democrats were doing, we're not making cars more affordable. They're making them less affordable. The consequence of that is going to be that more Americans can afford to buy a new car, which means they're going to be safer on the roads because of all the great new technology we have that save lives. So we'll have less death on American roads. These rules are going to allow the automakers to make vehicles that Americans want to purchase, not vehicles that Joe Biden and Buttigieg wants them to build, which is important. But also, this is important for American jobs. The more cars we sell, the more jobs we have in this country. And so this is jobs, this is freedom, and this is common sense, Mr. President. So thank you for your leadership. And I appreciate what the Senate did with the big, beautiful bill and what we've done here today. So thank you.
Very much. Big, beautiful bill is it's something. It's amazing. Wait till people see the benefits and the lower taxes that they're going to have, lower regulations. So how about Ford?
Mr. President, and Secretary, all the important lawmakers here, competitors, today is a victory of common sense and affordability. We're very proud of Ford to be the #1 auto producer in our country. 80% of the vehicles we sell here, we make in our country.
Right.
And we never left, unlike many of our competitors. We're the #1 exporter, and we have the most auto factory workers. And this CAFE standard that is aligned with customer demand is the right move for a lot of reasons. We were #2 last year in EV sales. We were #3 in hybrid, and we're the leading brand for combustion. We believe that people should be able to make a choice, as you said, Mr. President, and we will invest more in affordable vehicles. This allows us to invest in affordable vehicles made in the U.S., which we will take the lead on, and will allow us to make vehicles more affordable. So thank you for making this step for all of you.
Thank you very much. One of the other things we're doing, it's separate from this meeting, but I think everybody here would agree with it. If you go to Japan, where I just left, and if you go to South Korea, and Malaysia, and other countries, they have a very small car, sort of like the Beetle used to be with the Volkswagen. They're very small. They're really cute. And I said, how would that do in this country? And everyone seems to think good, but you're not allowed to build them. And I've authorized the secretary to immediately approve the production of those cars. So you'll be able to buy they really are, they're actually, some of them are really beautiful, actually. If you take a look, Honda, some of the Japanese companies do a beautiful job, but we're not allowed to make them in this country. And I think you're going to do very well with those cars. So we're going to approve those cars. Would you like to say something about that?
Well, no, just that he never stops working. So even when he's on Asian time, he's calling me at midnight in the States. But he gave me the directive to clear the regulations on this, which we have. And so if Toyota or any other company wants to make smaller, more affordable cars, fuel efficient, we have cleared the deck so they can make them in America and sell them in America.
They're really nice and less expensive. And it really gives people a chance to have a car, have a brand new car as opposed to a car that maybe isn't so great. And so you car companies start thinking about that. I think it's going to be a tremendous market. Please, would you like to say something?
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great day for us at Stellantis today, because it's the day where we see CAFE regulation reconciled with real customers' demand. That's why at Stellantis we decided to invest through Jeep, Ram, Dodge, and Chrysler, $13 billion in the next 4 years, increasing production by 50%, delivering to the market 5 new vehicles, and creating 5,000 additional jobs. That's because we believe in what you, Secretary Duffy, and all your team is doing in this country. We believe in growth, and we are ready to invest even more. So thank you very much. Thank you very much also for this great news of the K-Cars, which we are very interested in. And we are very looking forward to work with Secretary Duffy, your team, in the future for the next steps. Thank you very much.
We'll get ready for those cars because we've already cleared the way. You can start right away.
We will. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Please.
Drop the link.
Mr. President, thank you so much for having me. We support your leadership for this issue that is so important to the auto industry. I'm here representing the hard-working men and women of Orion Assembly in Michigan. The facility, our manufacturing facility there, is currently going through a retool so that we can build additional U.S. manufactured pickup trucks and full-size sport utilities for our customers, and we're so excited about that. And thank you for your support. Secretary Duffy, thank you as well.
And this is largely coming in because of the tariff situation. We're taking in trillions of dollars, actually, trillions, and we have so many other advantages. But these great companies are coming back to the United States. They left the United States. If somebody was sitting behind this desk that knew what they were doing, that wouldn't have happened. They would have said, well, you can sell your car here, but we're going to put 100% tariff. And you would have never had the auto industry leave. Again, we lost more than 50% of our auto industry. And now it's all coming back. And I think it's coming back. Ultimately, it's going to be bigger. I believe it's going to be bigger than it was before, actually. But it's an honor to have you here. And please, would you like to say something?
President,
thank you very much.
Tom Castriota, sir. I'm the chairman of National Automobile Dealers that represent 18,000 dealers in the country, along with 3,000 heavy-duty truck dealers. And what the actions that you've done as the president and your administration is definitely going to save our customers money. And you made your promises that let the consumer buy what they want, sir, and you delivered on that. And the other thing that you delivered was your promise in the big, beautiful bill, the tax deduction on loans that had gone away some years back. And now that makes it affordable for our buyers that can save money through that loan of the tax, anywhere from several hundred to several thousand. So again, sir, on behalf of all the dealers and our customers, we appreciate what you and your administration have done, and of course, our legislative support as well, Mr. President.
Thank you. That's very nice. And I'm glad you brought that up. We're allowing people to deduct. So if you go out and buy a car, and this is for middle income, but for lower income, no matter what, they never really had deductions. You know, rich people like deductions, but middle income people were never really afforded deductions, which is very unfair. You borrow money to buy a car, you're allowed to deduct the interest from your income tax. And I think that's going to be one of the most in terms of your industry, I think it's going to be the biggest thing that we're talking about, maybe even bigger than cafe standards. People are going to be able to borrow money, deduct it, so it's going to cost them essentially half. And they'll be.
It'll help, yes, sir.
I think it's going to be a tremendous factory. They've never had a chance to do that before. And that's all done. That's all in the great, big, beautiful bill. So it's really terrific. I'd like to ask a couple of our political leaders to say, because you guys have done an amazing job. This was something that was going to be very tough. We had to fight lunatics to get it done, and they had no answers. You know, it's you just present them with the facts,
I don't know if it's working,
and they just say, well, we're just not going to vote for it. They couldn't talk about it, but they didn't want to vote. I see Mike Kelly, my friend back there, who's been with me from day one, right?
Yep.
What do you have to say, Mike?
Well, you know what? I think you hit the key. Everybody's talking about the same thing.
In
America,
the way they like each other. You can see there's no hatred between these two guys.
No, as long as I beat his price, we're friends. No, but you hit it nail on the head. The American people have always been able to choose what they want to buy.
Right.
They don't want to be taken out of a market by people who, quite frankly, don't even drive their own car, and saying this is the way you've got to go going into the future. And say, well, you may say that, but you're not in the market. You have no idea. And I know the business we're in. At the end of the day, if you were there with me, I'd say, so, Mr. President, other than price, what's keeping you from taking the car home today? It's always price. Yeah. And the fact that we can build a car that's affordable, that people want to buy, that's the key to it. What you've done is unlock the most ridiculous statute that ever came in with CAFE. It wasn't done by the Congress. It was done by President Obama after the courts failed on it. So thank you for doing what you're doing. You're making America great again in every single way. Thank you.
Thank you. It's going to be so big for the auto manufacturers. People aren't even going to believe the impact this is.
Hey, what's good?
What's good? Yeah, I'm glad. I didn't want to type all of what I was saying.
All the time.
Yeah, I didn't want to type everything I was saying. I was like, that is so it's like half truths of what he's telling and what they're trying to do. But the automotive industry, what they're doing with this plan is that it's deceiving the American people. What they're doing is getting international cars, and they're trying to build companies here in America and say they're building it here. But the parts are not all coming from America. Most of it is coming from overseas. They're using recycled metal. And it's not the same as the United States, like our U.S. steel, because the CNC machines, they're still using those machines out of the country. They're using those in like China and different other places. So all those boats are being made overseas, and they don't have our type of metal. They use all the recycled metal, and they put them together in a recycled metal boat. That runs about 6 cents a boat. U.S. steel is about 20 cents a boat. And what that means is that when you get a car, and the warranty on those cars is about, you'll say, unless you buy the extended warranty, you got about 6 years on a recycled metal boat before it snaps. That boat that you get that's U.S. made from our steel, that'll last you about 10 to 15 years before your axle. That's why you see more cars now with the axles breaking and the car's wheels going left and right, because they don't have they're using recycled metals. And they've been doing this now for a lot of these new cars. And what Biden did was change that to use more American steel to fix those problems, so that people won't, they just don't care. They wanted to just get past the warranty.
No, I do agree with you. Well, some of it, but I think that Trump is doing an amazing job, and the auto industry is something that he's talked about even before he was elected, and all the things that he has talked about is what we're seeing.
I'm having a hard time understanding it, because the big beautiful bill, I don't really see it being big and beautiful. When you're cutting Medicaid and you're cutting medical insurance for people with cancer treatment, they closed a lot of medical facilities. That
video, so you didn't even know what he was going to finish saying.
Well, no, I've already done all this. I've already went through the big beautiful bill, so I already know what he's done already. He's closed a lot of medical facilities that treat people who have mental health issues. A lot of those clinics are closed. A lot of abortion clinics are closed.
Well, I'm a pro-lifer, and as a conservative thinker, I know your argument. I have to agree with a lot of the things that Donald Trump is doing. I'm not here to persuade anybody to be Republican, but I do like to share the truth about the Republican Party and the lies that comes from the left. And Donald Trump is the one that's fighting for peace. He's fighting to protect our borders. He's bringing in American jobs to serve us, help this country. But because some people are so blinded, they can't see it, and all they can think about is, oh, this and oh, that. And they're so big on left ideologies that they don't know the truth.
No, I'm an independent. I don't go with the left or the right. I look at who's right. If the best candidate, they have the best plan, I go what makes sense.
So I do too. And I have to say that by Donald Trump closing, as you say, clinics, well, when does life begin? If he's protecting the life of a child that's not yet born, I'm not going to say, we know that some of those abortion clinics were put in Black communities to destroy our race. And it started off as a very racist thing, especially when you're talking about Planned Parenthood. So not only is Donald Trump trying to they talk about family values, traditions, and things like that. So I'm not going to put them down for ending these clinics that has not benefited our people.
Well, the thing is you're
But
okay.
I do want to finish my video, but I'm gonna let you go.
No, that's what I'm saying. Are you okay with a man making a choice for you?
I'm okay with laws being made that will protect families, because a lot of people that unalive their child have regrets later in life, and people don't like to talk about that. And a lot of people like to say, and I am going to get back to my video, but a lot of people like to say, Carsino, number one, that they like to make it seem that women get rid of their children for great purposes. You know the word. I can't say the word because
You're right. The R word.
being forced on it, right? That's not the number one cause for abortion. A lot of women make bad decisions and regret it later. And they like to use this fear tactic, like and say, oh, well, men are making decisions for women. No, a man is not making a decision for a woman, but laws are put in place to protect the vulnerable, to protect those that cannot protect themselves.
But that's not the number one reason. The R word reason is not.
That is not the number one. That is not the number one reason
No,
for women.
A lot of them are, yes. Some of them are. What you were saying was correct, but a lot of them are medical reasons as well. Like if a woman is having trouble having her birth, or she might be struggling with her pregnancy, and she cannot go full term. These are things, or they're miscarrying. I know a woman who was pregnant in her tube, so she had to get it got stuck. The baby was stuck in her tube. Women go through so many different things. To be able to just say there's one thing definitively and there is no option for them, and you're taking the choice away from a human being, they should be obligated to make a choice. A man can make any choice that he wants. Why is it that they're doing that for a woman, making the choice for her without her being able to make a choice? I'm not saying somebody should, like, if I would not push anybody that I get pregnant to go have an abortion, but the choice is up to them because they have to have the child, they have to deliver the child. So I don't think that we have the right to make them do something. I don't think that's the right way to deal with it.
I agree with you, but that's that fear mongering that happens a lot. And there's no state that's going to deny a woman who is in a medical emergency. No state's going to do that. That's a lie that comes from the left. And it's fear mongering. That's what it is. Because if you are in dire need of a procedure, then you're going to get that procedure. But that's not what we're talking about here.
Okay. They said Texas denies it.
No, source up. Show a source. Show a source.
I mean, that's what she says in the chat. I'm just reading the chat.
Okay, I don't know.
She said Texas denies it.
I don't know them. I'm just getting to know them.
Oh,
so
okay.
I just let the chat rock out. I don't even.
I mean, there's some Republicans that are actually really good people. I mean, they actually really do.
Do you consider me a good person?
Oh well, I believe you. I believe you have have good values. I don't look at somebody and say, "Oh, they're conservative." My stepfather's a conservative.
Okay, so
he's
because
married to my mother, who's a left, like she's a Democrat all the way to the left. She's part of the Democrats, so the fact that they can coexist is incredible. Even though election time is war in that house, but but the thing of it is this. And I always tell people this. I say the left, they are delusional. The left is delusional. The right, the conservatives are in denial. And that's basically
Can I read this to you? Because people like to throw out misinformation. So even though you cannot get, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I don't like misinformation put in the chat. That's why I don't read your comments a lot. Okay. You cannot generally get an abortion in Texas, but there are medical exceptions. An exception allows abortions to save the life or prevent serious impairment of a pregnant person. And there is the Life of a Mother Act from 2025, which aims to clarify that doctors can perform abortions if there's a potential pose to the life. Okay, now Google that stuff. Here we go. When you try to say that things are absolute, that you absolutely cannot get an abortion in Texas, that's false. And it takes, I already know that if a mother's life is in danger, she can have procedures done. But all of this fear and all of this, oh, well, the woman can die because she's pregnant. No, stop. And make better choices.
Well, yes, that goes all the way around the board, but I don't think a woman should be forced to go full term if she doesn't choose to.
I think that when we're quoting stats though, and I'm not judging you guys, I'm not judging, but I am pro-life. Now, not every Republican is pro-life. I think that's gonna go more along the Christian values, and I do got to get back to my video before I fall asleep. But listen,
okay,
pro-life isn't really. Some Republicans are not conservative. So
Yeah.
I'm not about to, I'm not trying to preach to you guys, but what I do want to do, I'm trying to be my best to be non-biased and all those things. But I do appreciate when you put accurate stats in the chat and accurate information. And to say that Texas absolutely does not allow abortions is absolutely false.
Okay.
But they don't allow it if you just say, hey, I want an abortion because I want to end my pregnancy. They're not going to allow that. The laws prevent that there. But that's another story for another day.
Yeah. No, I'm not pro-death. Whoever that said that, no. I said that's pro-choice. I said if it was me and my child, no way. I would want my child to go full term. But I cannot take a choice away from a woman or anybody else. I can't force someone to say this is the law, you got to do it this way, and this is it, you have to go full term. I just don't think that's the right way to do it, because people have their own reasons for wanting to do it or not wanting to do it.
I respect that.
It's just, yeah.
Eric says, absolutely none of your business. There's people agreeing with you and not agreeing with me, and that's okay. That's why it's called a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
You're pro-death. I don't know. I'm all for no men in women's bathrooms. We're not going to agree on everything. Republicans.
Yes, I don't believe in this segregated bathrooms. I don't
respond to this real quick, Carson. I actually care about Black Americans. 90% of my employees. Here we go with the Black comment. When has America been good to Black people? That was your comment earlier, VS. America is good to me. I'm prosperous. I think that you can't keep playing the race card. Has it always been perfect? No. But the Republican Party fought to free the slaves, and they fought for every civil rights act that we have. And it was fought against by the Democrats. So if you're trying to preach Republican and Democrat to me, it's not going to work. Go ahead, Carcino.
Well, yes. And to double off that, we were all Republicans, where Democrats didn't want us to vote. When the Blacks started to first get into the elections, we were all Republicans. Mm-hmm. We were never Democrats, because Democrats didn't want Blacks to even vote, period. Republicans let us vote. They fought for us to vote. So we were Republicans all until one incident happened, and then we all went to Democrat. But that's
when a white supremacist threw the Republicans out of office. Black men were in the office. We didn't have black men were given the right to vote before any white woman or women. Some of you have to study your history. Blacks were Republican, right? And I'm going to stick with the party that fought for my rights and that does not insist that I get on government. That's another story for another day. I won't get into that tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, prohibitionary periods. We the one fought to they end up making liquor legal, but during the prohibitionary periods, we were fighting with elections, and everybody were in their factions. You had the Irish, you had the Polish. Everybody was coming to this country and making, getting their groups and fighting for independence and their jobs and rights. So we were allowed to vote because we got along and had to work along with all these people. And mostly in New York and on the East Coast was more of these elections that was done where everyone fought for territory and got their own individual jobs, labor jobs, and things of that nature. So a lot of this division came through politics. Everybody told us we had to be separated, we had to be this, we have to be that. And propaganda keeps everyone pretty much ignorant to the facts.
Right. I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, this is a great conversation. We got to do this more often.
Anytime, no problem. And I enjoy your points of views. Just the fact that you're open-minded, and I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying.
Well, yeah, I always try to be sensible. Like I've met Trump plenty of times, because I'm in boxing. So I've met him he put together all the boxing fights. He was the sponsor. Him and Don King are best friends. And all of the real estate conventions here in Chicago, he would come here with Robert Kiyosaki, who was one of his best friends. So he's the guest speaker. He would always bring Donald Trump in as his speaker, a guest speaker at the real estate conventions. So we're always at the Donald Stevenson Center, and and he is a hilarious person. But if you ever met him, yeah, he acts more like a kid. Like he's really would do things that's weird. Like he would hover around you until you acknowledge him. He wouldn't say anything.
I love him. I mean, I went to the rally. He had his rally in Coachella. I was there, even though they don't like to call it an assassination attempt. There was an attempt put on his life. But when he came to Coachella, that was just an unbelievable experience. I don't think I'll be able to see anything like that again. It was amazing.
I just don't think he's presidential. I don't see anything.
Well, he's already the president, so that doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, I know.
Commander-in-chief.
He is but nothing about him says commander-in-chief.
Thank you, brother.
He does not carry himself like a commander-in-chief.
Well, you know what? Sometimes we need
something more like
new.
a actor playing the president more than a commander-in-chief. He's too reactionary. Like he's too emotional. If something happens, like he gets really upset and then he reacts. And I'm like, that's not what the president's supposed to do. I'm like, the president's job is to keep the people calm. That is them. Like, no matter what chaos is going on, the president is to keep the people calm, make the people believe everything is okay. That's your job as president. Y'all do all the other stuff behind closed doors, but you keep the American public calm. You don't keep up chaos or all this distrust, and it makes more people like, okay, we don't know what's going to happen. And everybody is antsy, and then they coming up with all these different terms, DEI. It went from Black Lives Matters to DEI. And it was like,
my vision. You were all for blacks are my people, and now you're saying goodbye DEI. Girl, you're confused. Now I'm also saying goodbye to DEI. Okay, but you're all over the place.
Mm-hmm. DEI was never really. We're like fourth on the list of benefits for DEI. White women are number one who's benefited from DEI, diversity inclusion. That's what it's for. It doesn't mean black. Diversity inclusion does not mean black, but they use us as the catalyst for it.
For any
So,
movement,
yes.
they put a blackface in front of it. We are not the ones that benefit from affirmative action. We're not the ones that benefit from DEI. But once again, the question in the chat earlier was, when has America been good for Black people? I'm going to say in 2025, 2024. If you are a working Black person, you can't keep using the race card as your friend. Everybody has things that they have to overcome. Okay.
That's true. It's just that the problem that it's, I know what he's saying, when has it been good for Black people, is what they're saying is that for Blacks, we don't get the loans that most of everybody else gets. Like, see, they always tell us to go out, get a job and pull ourselves up by the bootstraps, but they never did that. They got money by hands out. Everything's coming from them. They can go to a bank, get a loan. We can't do that. Our farming, we're down to less than 4% in owning of farmland. They've pretty much stolen all of our farmland from us. Then they raised the taxes up so high that people couldn't afford to pay it. And next thing you know, the spoilage was so high, they've taken that from us. So definitely, African Americans have not had it good in this country in 2024 and 2025. When we want to talk about when it was best for us, probably about 50 years ago, 50, 60 years ago. But yeah, we have a very hard time because we don't have the same benefits they give to everyone else. If we're supposed to have the opportunity to better ourselves, why don't we have the same tools to help us that we're supposed to have to help benefit us, not just to live off of? Like some people use assisted living programs to live off of instead of going out. It's supposed to be an assist, not for you to live off of. And they do that because they're living in certain zones that are not beneficial. All the resources are being absorbed from that zone and pretty much delegated elsewhere. We put
I agree with a lot of it. I do agree with what a lot of what you're saying. I see people talking about DEI and loans and all those things. And number one, if you're not Black, you won't understand the Black struggle. I'm not going to have that conversation with you guys. But I am going to say in 2025, you have to fight. And I'm a capitalist. I'm not a socialist. If you guys don't know me, now you know. I'm pretty open about that. So I'm gonna have different beliefs than you guys, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Everyone, my video.
We learn from each other. Right, that's why I said we learn from each other. That's the way information works. Everyone learns from each other. If someone else is a different, like they might have a different religion or than you learn about them, and then you guys learn how to respect one another, and that's the best way to grow. I didn't know anything about anybody from India or anything until I had a neighbor who was Indian and their family and their traditions and everything else about them. Then we've learned how to respect one another. So everyone learns from each other. So even if she believes in different things, it's okay to just listen, and then you could process and make your own decision rather than being told what to think from propaganda media.
You're right. I'm gonna have to have a discussion about that. I think that'll be a really good panel discussion. I'm gonna get to this video.
Okay.
Because it's about 40 minutes. I don't think I'm gonna finish that. I might have to finish it tomorrow. But I'm gonna say this though. I think that we all want the same things for our families. And we want to be able to survive. We just have different ways of getting there. Republicans, Democrats said, I'm not even addressing the liberals. We're not doing liberals, okay? I'm not gonna. Republicans, Democrats, and independent thinkers, we all sit at the same table. We all saw what happened at the funeral. You see events. You're gonna see all sides of the coin there. There's no reason for us to be separated because of our political beliefs. I'm gonna say that. Hey, Dr. Manhattan, I'm gonna say that.
Now, liberals, the thing about liberals.
My video. I'll give you this final thought. I'm putting my video.
Okay. The thing about liberals, though, is They want the same things. Liberals have things that they're very conservative about, and conservatives have things that they're very liberal about. And both sides they got to work together, or it doesn't work. One side can't work without the other. They both need to come together. They both have ideals that say, okay, we don't agree with these, but the liberals, they think is they don't go about fixing anything. They put on a big show, but they never fix anything. So that's their problem. They're not realistic about the approach of getting it done. They say all these things and it sounds great, but the realistic part is how do we get there? And they never have a plan to get there. The conservatives will have a plan to get there, but it doesn't include everybody. The conservative plans approves and concludes people that's in a certain tax bracket. And that's just the truth. And unfortunately, these two have to work together. They have to realize that everybody needs to be included in this situation.
I agree. I agree, my friend. I don't know if I'm able to play this video while you're up here.
Okay, well, I'll step down.
I appreciate you. Well, I pinned the link. I may not be able to play more of it. I might have to finish tomorrow, but I'm gonna play a little bit more of it because I'm so into the auto industry. When I was into the auto industry before Trump even got into office, and I think it's amazing what they're doing and bringing these jobs back to America. So I don't want to I try not to give my commentary on it because I like you guys to hear it yourself and comment. Don't listen to MU. I just play the news for you.
Okay.
I'm not to persuade you guys one way or the other.
All right.
Casino, I enjoyed you anytime.
Okay, well, thank you, Princess.
You're welcome.
All right.
Shout out to Casino. Subscribe to his channel. I don't have any mods in my chat, but please subscribe to his channel. He really gives good commentary. Y'all, let me get to this video because it's 1:20. Thank you, Casino, for coming up. I totally dig your commentary, you guys. I don't disagree with him. I don't. Okay. Now I got to figure out how to put my video back on. There it is. Let's go.
We'd have a rally. It was like 0 degrees. It was freezing. Everyone, and he'd sit there without a shirt on. And I didn't need that, you know. I didn't say it was pretty. But
thank you, Cristiano. I see you.
And he didn't mind it at all. I said, that's one tough cookie, right?
You lit it up. We didn't need any heat.
We had a good time. We had a lot of great rallies.
We did.
Pennsylvania. Please, Mr. Congressman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I represent the dealer body. I'm a dealer, and we got some other dealers in here, but this is huge for the dealer body, the local car dealer. We're going to be able to sell what the customer wants. The manufacturer's going to make what the customer wants. We've got all kinds of options to the big bill. It's going to enable people, as we talked about, to deduct payments and so forth. As we say in the business, they've never been cheaper than they are today, Mr. President. And it's going to be a great opportunity for the dealer body to sell what consumers want. And 99% of the businesses in America are small businesses. Many are car dealers, employ a lot of people. It's going to be a great year for us. We appreciate your leadership, and we appreciate, from a retail standpoint, we appreciate the manufacturers going to step up and build cars that customers want and that we want to sell. So thank you very much. It makes it a great country.
He's also a very brave congressman because he was there on the baseball field that horrible day with Steve Scalise and some other people. He was hit, but he took it very well. He took it very well. You're my pal.
Thank you.
Thanks. Great job.
Appreciate you.
Great job. Appreciate it. Kevin, could you say a few words of wisdom? One of the really smart economic forecasters, I will tell you, beyond an economist. He's a real forecaster. Please.
Sir, I think that there's a massive macroeconomic benefit to what we're doing today. And the way to think about it is that the car that has the best gas mileage that you could buy that has only gasoline is a Honda that gets about 36 miles per gallon. Joe Biden wanted to make every car on average be above 50. So there's no car made in the U.S. that you would be able to sell 2 years from now, 3 years from now under that rule. Because what he wanted to do was make everybody have an electric car, as you know. But here's the thing, that if everybody had an electric car, then nobody would be buying gasoline anymore, and they'd have to take all the miles that they travel and put it on the grid. And so we would have to increase the production of electricity in the U.S. by 25% over the next couple of years if they had their way. And so you've really stopped a massive disruption for the economy with this. So thank you, sir.
And that wasn't the main reason, and yet it certainly is a main reason. You wouldn't have been able to do it even if you wanted it. It's just so crazy. That was the mandate, which we ended. Troy, would you like to say something?
Great honor. Thank you. My family is a former dealer, 48 years, Chrysler Dodge dealer. And then I got into the political world. So I had more fun in the dealership world, but I miss it. But I still play a big role in deals and grateful. I remember under President Obama when the CAFE standards changed, as Mike brought up, and going through those challenging times as a Chrysler dealer before Stellantis came along. It was Daimler before you guys got it. So thank you very much for being here and making these changes. And as you said, that interest on the car loan piece is big. And I know that Bernie led the charge on that in the Senate and get it into one big, beautiful bill. That really is a big deal. And people need to understand how big a deal that is.
You did a great job. And by the way, we had a great victory last night.
I like our race.
He's going to be a great congressman. I think so. Really, like us, right?
Yeah, like us.
One of my early endorsements, right?
Yes, sir.
Can we talk about it? You're right there is the man. Come in. Let me say hello to you. Please, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. President, for your leadership. But the thing I've admired most, you've been in business, you've been in the battles over the years, and you're helping us lead us out. Most people that are up here have no idea about business or small business. It makes a big difference. And one is. Number two is, I would just say in terms of the tax stuff we're talking about, one of the things that get missed, and I'm in Florida, Sarasota region, is the ability to deduct. Most people have a small business, they'll have a lawn business, they'll have this, that, they buy a new or used truck. They can take that deduction, let's say they're in a 20% tax bracket, but the vehicle's 60 grand. They can take 20% of the 60 grand, get a $12,000 write-off. They can pay their payments for the first year. That's a powerful tool we don't talk about. I don't know why, but at the end of the day, because of what you've put in place, full expensing,
right? That's
the tool that it would use. And you could just think about all the people in Florida, just general places. They're buying old vans or new vans. They're buying trucks, mainly trucks, and they're getting a deduction. They don't even have a payment for a year.
That's right.
So one of the best things for
One of the
Florida,
biggest
everybody
things
else.
in the expense.
Expensing is a powerful tool. They can write the whole asset off the first year, take that deduction, put $12,000 in their pocket on a $20,000. But let me mention one other thing. They got into the e-vehicles, electric cars. And I'm talking to dealers that come in and talk to me. And basically, they couldn't sell one. They couldn't give one away. And when these companies, they got in because of whatever political pressure under Biden administration, and they end up realizing that they got no market. A guy says, the car's been sitting there a year. I can't get rid of it. So they don't understand the market. The people produce the vehicles, and that's made a big difference in your leadership. But thanks for what you're doing here today. It's big, it's huge. It'll make a big difference. $12,000 on a $60,000 vehicle up front, day one. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
You know, we're just talking about something that's interesting. Ford would make, and I don't want to speak for Ford because we have one of the top people right here.
Mr. President, it's fine if you want to talk about Ford.
Ford would make numerous electric cars in order to sell one Ford 150.
Yes.
Because they'd make all their money with the 150.
Yes.
And they were willing to lose money on building 2 or 3 electric cars that they couldn't sell in order to make some money on the 150, because the 150 is a monster. I'll tell you what, that no matter where you go, they love that Ford 150.
Yes.
But isn't it a ridiculous model when you have to build 2 or 3 cars that you know you're not going to be selling or not be selling for much in order to really do something that you should have the right to do, which is make a car that you want to make.
Yes.
And that the market wants, right? So congratulations on the 150.
Thank you. Best-selling vehicle in the United States.
Just saying.
Look at that. Now it's 100% built in the United States.
Now it's only going to do, no, but it really is. It's amazing. It's an amazing brand.
There was a lot of stupid things done here.
What would you like to say?
Yeah, I thank you, Mr. President and Secretary Duffy and all of us. You know, one of the last times I was here is when you signed the electric vehicle
CRA, Congressional Review Act, that all of us participated in, the beginning of really making common sense, because it was going to impact 17 other states and really a large part of our economy. This is about affordability here. I'm just going to say one thing. Well, maybe I already said one thing, so now I'm going to say two things. When we talk about a car and auto, we sort of talk about just, oh, we need a car. Do you know what a car does for a family? You can take your children to school. You can go to the store. You can visit your mother. You can go to church. You can have a job. You have the flexibility that you need. A car for an American family is about a roadway to prosperity.
Big deal.
It's a big deal. And so by making them more affordable, making them more choice-driven by what families want and need, today is a great day for the American family.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely, and the American worker.
Say.
Well, thank you, Mr. President and Secretary Duffy, and to my colleagues that are here. In Tennessee, we make great automobiles, and we have a fantastic workforce. And whether you're GM or Ford, with their new investment in Tennessee, or Nissan or VW or Toyota with the engine plant, what you see is the components that are necessary to build these cars. And removing these standards and making cars more affordable does mean that more people will purchase them, but it also means we're going to have to make more cars to meet that demand. And for Tennessee, that is a great thing.
So, you know, I'm just sitting here and I'm thinking, like, we have the biggest auto manufacturers in the world. They're talking about investing billions and they're investing it as we speak, but billions and billions of dollars in our country. Thank you very much. And they're not like, well, maybe we'll do it. They're doing it because of tariffs, and they're doing it because of maybe they like the president, and we're doing things like this for them, which frankly, no matter who you are, this should be done. And we're doing things like deductibility of interest. When you borrow money to buy a car, you're allowed to deduct it from your income tax. That is a massive tax cut for people that probably are going to be trying to buy that car anyway. And I really think that interest factor is going to be one of the biggest things. I was proud of that because I thought of it, and it seems so simple. Other people are allowed big interest. If you're a rich person, you're allowed to have big interest deductions for different things you do. But if you're a middle-income person that has to buy a car, you were never entitled to anything. And now you're getting a full interest deduction on the loan. And I think that's going to have one of the biggest impacts. But we're here with companies that are investing tens of billions of dollars in our country as we speak. It's not going to be in 2 years or 3 years. A lot of it's because of the expensing provision in the bill, the big, beautiful bill. But a miracle is happening in our country. It's a miracle. This is just the auto industry, but we have other industries where it's the same thing. They're building all over our country, and this is a revolution is happening. It's a business revolution. It's a jobs revolution. It's a car revolution. We're bringing back the car industry that was stolen from us because we have people that didn't know what they were doing sitting at this desk. They put the wrong people in because they weren't advised properly. And this is really an incredible thing that's happening. Go ahead, Kevin.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. And I think in many respects, pretty much everything that could be said has been, except that I think what Kevin talks about in terms of the cascading economic opportunity from this one single event is just the tip of the iceberg. When you think of all the rules and regulations that you have repealed, I think it's more important, frankly, than the tax cuts. However, in the Working Family Tax Cuts Act, remember, we made permanent a lot of really good policy from the first Trump era, not the least of which for small businesses is bonus depreciation, the opportunity to depreciate the year that you purchase an F-150 for your small business or a large truck for your farm. I just think we're going to roll into 2026 and we're going to see an escalation of economic opportunity, the likes of which I probably have never seen.
I think nobody's ever seen it, nobody in the world, because there's never been 18 or whatever it ends up being. In 10 months, we have $18 trillion being invested. We never had $1 trillion being invested. And Biden had much less than that. Think of it. He had less than $1 trillion.
Nicole, I know, but I don't have any mods.
We have $18 trillion in 10 months. And it's actually as of 9 months. So there's never been anything. Eric?
Yeah,
what do
Mr.
you have to
President,
say?
thank you. And on behalf of the people of the great state of Missouri, who we actually make things from F-15s to F-47s now, thanks to you. We'll be building the F-47 and then F-150s. And those are real jobs. And we make things in Missouri. This is going to go a long way, I think, for making things more affordable for normal people. Nothing could be more American than driving a car on the highway. And this is going to make that more accessible for more people. So thanks for your leadership.
Your state's doing a great job.
Yeah, well, they love you too.
It's a great place. Thank you. Please.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to talk to you just a minute from a rural perspective,
Okay.
because these cafe standards were absolutely unworkable in rural Missouri. We need vehicles that are practical and affordable and
Right.
can haul for our small businesses, for agriculture, and it just simply didn't work. Those cafe standards didn't work. So I applaud you and Secretary Duffy for your hard work and what you're doing on behalf of rural America.
Well, it was keeping a lot of manufacturers out of our country too. They said, we're not gonna, are you crazy? They thought, outside manufacturers thought we were absolutely insane with all of the different things and just made up nonsense. It was like made up. It was really made up by people that hate our country. I really believe. Does anybody else have anything to say?
I'd say about two quick things, Mr.
Oh, no,
President.
Bernie, I didn't see.
Two quick things I think are really important. So the person who sat behind this desk before you gave $7,500 in subsidies to multimillionaires who are leasing electric Rolls Royces, electric Porsches, electric Lamborghinis. We're getting $7,500 from the taxpayer. And these Democrats sit on this floor and say that Republicans are for millionaires and billionaires. We are the opposite of giving $7,500 to multi-billionaires to lease foreign electric vehicles. Number two, because of your policies, at the beginning of the year, 51% of the cars sold in America were made in America, 51% before you got sworn in. Last month, that number was 57%. We moved it 6 points, which nobody thought would be possible in 4 years. We did it in 10 months. That's something that maybe the news should cover a little bit more. And we've driven down the price of automobiles. Car prices for consumers are down before you did.
Just about everything is down. You know, this whole thing is, they use the word affordability. It's a Democrat hoax. They're the ones that drove the prices up. And all they do is say affordability. And you're supposed to say, oh, that means they had low prices. No, we inherited the worst inflation in the history of our country. They say 48 years, but let's say that's history. I don't believe that. Biden had, because of his stupid ways and between his energy policies and his spending policies, we had the worst inflation in the history of our country. And now our prices are coming down, and they're coming down for cars, and they're coming down. I mean, did you hear yesterday when Chris Wright from Energy, the head of energy in our country, said there are now parts of our country, it's all happening, $1.99 for gasoline, a gallon. And we have it at $2.50, $2.60. It was at $5. And that's bigger than any tax cut we could give. You know, for the average family, that's considered bigger than any tax cut. So the word affordability, when they mention it, you ever watch them? It's all about, I saw the young lady that lost last night. She lost by a lot more than they thought. And we have a great new candidate in Congress, really great, Matt Van Epps. But I saw last night, she said, it's all about affordability. All about, they never talk about like the specifics. Right. Everything was through the roof. Eggs, when I took over, eggs were 4 times higher than they ever were. We got the prices down to the lowest level. Yep. I mean, amazing. But they never, you got to watch, they're great con people. It's like the Inflation Reduction Act. And after they got it approved, because everybody said inflation reduction, they admitted it had nothing to do with reducing inflation. It's a con job. I think affordability is the greatest con job. They look at you and they say, affordability. They don't say anything else. Everyone says, oh, their prices were so low. No, they had the worst inflation. We had the highest prices we ever had. And now they're all coming down, including beef is coming down. Beef was up there a little bit. The ranchers did well, but we got to make them do a little bit less well, perhaps. But the beef is now coming down. Coffee is now coming down. It's all coming down. And it's a beautiful thing to see. But remember this, when they use the word affordability, They just say, they never say anything else. This election's about affordability, and then they go into the next subject. It's a con job. They caused the highest prices in the history of our country, the worst inflation in the history of our country, and we're getting those prices down, and they're coming down rapidly.
You can't hear?
And you'll see those results very soon. Anybody else want to say a few words? Oh, Ted.
Wait,
I'm easy to miss.
It's very rare that I would miss it. Go ahead.
Well, Mr. President, I want to
You guys can hear me?
congratulate you on behalf of everyone here for the leadership that you're showing. And this is a victory today for consumers. This is a victory for affordability. Your critics like to say the word affordability. Under Joe Biden and the
You hear me?
Democrats,
Okay.
they put mandate after mandate after mandate on cars and trucks, and they drove the price up
Pedro, don't play.
thousands
I'm
and
telling you
thousands of dollars. And with the actions you're taking today, and you put on top
Thank
of
you,
that
Donna.
the one
Thank
big
you.
beautiful bill, you know, most of the senators here on the Senate Commerce Committee, and on the Commerce Committee, we worked together to zero out the CAFE standards. We wrote that into the law that the CAFE standards went to zero. What does that mean? It means you can now, as a consumer, buy the car you want. It also means people's lives will be safer, because what these regulations did is they forced cars to be more expensive and made of plastic instead of steel, because you had to make them lighter to comply with these standards. So you'd get in a wreck and people would die. The result of what you're doing, you're literally saving people's lives, and you're making it where families can afford to get a new car. These actions will drop the cost of cars and trucks thousands of dollars. That makes a real difference. And I'll make one final point. You know, about half the members here are car dealers. And I will say my good friend Roger Williams out in the lobby, he tried to sell me a car, which didn't surprise me, but I just want to give props to Mike Kelly. He showed he was savvier because he tried to sell you a car, and you can afford a much nicer car than I can. So well done, Mike Roger. You just went to the wrong customer.
I was $100 cheaper.
The thing that Ted just said, it's true, plastic instead of steel. Think of that. And people died because of that. The plastic was plastic in an auto accident, and it broke up, and people were shattered because of that crazy deal. But it's a really good point. Go ahead.
And Mr. President, I'll tell you, the Senate Commerce Committee on January 14th, we're going to have a hearing with all of the big three there and Tesla. And the entire hearing is going to focus on how your leadership has reduced the burdens on car makers. That's lowering costs. That's giving consumers more choices, and it's producing more jobs in America. And it's highlighted. That's a real record of success.
Yeah, well, it's an honor. And, you know, they were going by California. We had like 2 different countries, California and 15 that followed California, because you had 15 states follow California. And the rules from California were just like everything else. That's why people are leaving. That's why it's such a mess. There's a state with such unbelievable potential. But what they did with the car industry is incredible. And that was, you know, the car companies didn't know what to do because they had 2 standards, and you can't build 2 different cars for the same country. And what we're doing today is very big. Would anybody like to say something? Would you like to say something, my friend?
I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. And we love you, Brian.
Oh, I love you too, Mr. President. I've always said
he's a good man.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
appreciate that. I've always said you've tackled the three M's: mortgage, munchkins, and marriage. You've solidified all of those. I'll add motor vehicles to that now. My question, I got one about consumer confidence. We just came off on the record high Black Friday, up 9.1%.
Record highest ever, biggest amount ever purchased in one day. Yep.
Which I think counters this narrative of affordability, because apparently the Americans are spending money. So I want to see, how do you view that for a consumer confidence being so high going into Christmas and going into next year? And I do have one for the auto group after you.
Yeah, I
after
just
that.
think that we have tremendous confidence in the country. You know, one of the things in terms of confidence, if you go back a year and a half, you know, it's amazing. We're like into 10 months already, but you go back a little bit before the election, because after November 5th, it started changing rapidly, even though we weren't running it until January 20th. But when you look back and you look at the enlistment of soldiers, people that wanted to join the military, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, it's like booming. It's all Space Force. But we had the worst recruitment in the history of our country. A year later, we have the greatest recruitment in the history. You can't even get in. Getting in is like getting into a top college that you couldn't get in. People want to be in the service now, and that includes the police and firemen, other things. You couldn't hire police. You couldn't hire anybody in the Army or the Navy. You couldn't get people in. And we now have gone from that to record recruitment. We're getting high quality people, amazing people wanting to be in the military. They have a spirit now, call it what you want, but that's part of it. But they have great spirit now. So it's a great thing. Go ahead, ask your second question.
Okay, my second question, I've got a lot of close family friends in the automotive business, own dealerships all across Southern California. They sent me a question to ask you. There's a thing called a mileage blocker that is installed on vehicles. It's a type of a computer chip which alters the actual mileage driven on the vehicle so that when you have a leased vehicle that's turned in, they're losing thousands of dollars. They've got to go chase down these manufacturers. What can we do to track down these manufacturers of this illegal computer chip that's really hurting the automotive industry?
Have you heard about this?
Yes, sir. They're getting built in China, and most of them are coming out of Great Britain, sir. They're being distributed through China, through distributors selling them online through Great Britain. Yes, sir.
Wow, that's not so good. What do you think?
Look at that.
Do you burn it? Do you know anything about that?
It works on older vehicles, and obviously, well, we got to do a better job.
Yeah, I think it's something, I've never heard of it. Very good. We never heard of it. That's pretty good.
Mr. President, you released video of that first boat strike on September 2nd, but not the second video. Will you release video of that strike so that the American people can see for themselves what
I
happened?
don't know what they have, but whatever they have, we'd certainly release, no problem. We stopped every boat we knock out, we save 25,000 American lives.
So that's right.
And
Thank you.
if you look at our numbers, the drugs coming in through sea are down 91%. I'm surprised there's 9%. I don't know who's doing the 9%, but it's down 91, and we're going to start very soon on land, and I'm sure you're thrilled to hear that.
Mr. President, on Ukraine, Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner were there last night with Vladimir Putin. Can you give us an update about those talks? It sounds from what the Kremlin is saying that they're not going to compromise. Can you tell us what you've?
I don't know what the Kremlin's doing. I can tell you that they had a reasonably good meeting with President Putin. We're going to find out. It's a war that should have never been started. It's a war. If I were president, we had a rigged election. If I were president, that war would have never happened. It's a terrible thing. But I thought they had a very good meeting yesterday with President Putin. We'll see what happens. It's, when I was in this office and I talked about no cards, I said, you have no cards. That was the time to settle. I thought that would have been a much better time to settle. But they, in their wisdom, decided not to do that. They have a lot of things against them right now. But you have President Putin had a very good meeting yesterday with Jared Kushner and with Steve Witkoff. What comes out of that meeting, I can't tell you, because it does take two to tango. Ukraine, I think we have something pretty well worked out with them. They're very satisfied, considering. But the sad part is, if I were president, no war would have ever happened. They would have had 100% of their territory. Nothing would have happened. It's a very sad situation. So think of this. Last month, 27,000 soldiers. 27. That's like you take a stadium, a football stadium, not an arena, and you cut it in half. 27,000 people died. Mostly young soldiers died last month, in 1 month. And that's the only reason I'm involved. We're not spending any money in the war. We're selling to NATO. We're not being ripped off like we were under Biden. Biden was handing everybody everything we had, giving them all the missiles, everything they wanted, free, no charge. So he had no idea what he was doing. They're paying top dollar, full price for everything. Goes to NATO, and then NATO distributes it. NATO pays us. So it's not money. We would all, I think I can speak for everyone behind here. The politicians I know and the auto manufacturers are good people. They don't want to see 27,000 people die for no reason whatsoever. And that's the only reason I'm trying to help. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, switching to Venezuela for a second. Have you checked back with President Maduro? I mean, is your pressure campaign working? And do you think how's he responding to your demand that he leave the country?
It's not pressure campaign. It's much beyond that, I think. But I spoke to him. briefly just told them a couple of things.
I don't care
We'll
about
see what
hair
happens
and
with
stuff
that.
like that.
Venezuela sends us drugs, but Venezuela sends us people that they shouldn't be sending. They emptied their prisons into our country. They sent us killers, murderers. They sent us drug dealers at the highest level. They sent us gang members. They sent us people from their mental institutions. They emptied their mental institutions into our country. And so did other countries, because we had stupid people running this country, really stupid people. And I think probably you had some stupid ones and you had some smart ones, but there were bad people too. Because not all of them were stupid. You can't cheat on elections like they did and be stupid, okay?
Did you talk to him a second time or just that one time?
What's that?
To Majoro, did you speak to him again?
No, I didn't.
Mr. President, if you do find. When you spoke with Mr. Witkoff and with Mr. Kushner.
Last night,
did they give you the sense that President Putin still wants to end the war, wants to make peace?
He would like to end the war. That was their impression. Now, whether or not, that was their impression. Their impression was that he would like to see the war ended. I think he'd like to get back to dealing a more normal life. I think he'd like to be trading with the United States of America, frankly, instead of, losing thousands of soldiers a week. But their impression was very strongly that they'd like to make a deal. We'll see what happens.
Mr. President, the boat strikes, if it is found that survivors were actually killed while clinging on to that boat, should Secretary Hegseth, Admiral Bradley, or others be punished?
I think you're going to find that this is war, that these people were killing our people by the millions, actually, if you look over a few years. I think last year we lost close to 300,000 people were killed. That's not mentioning all the families. Have you seen what happens with the families of not only the people killed, the people that are trying to get their son or their daughter off of this poison that they've been fed? I think you're going to find that there's a very receptive ear to doing exactly what they're doing, taking out those boats. And very soon we're going to start doing it on land too, because we know every route, we know every house, we know where they manufacture this crap, we know where they put it all together. And I think you're going to see it very soon on land also. Yeah, please.
So to be clear, you support the decision to kill survivors after the
No, I support the decision to knock out the boats, and whoever's piloting those boats, most of them are gone, but whoever are piloting those boats, they're guilty of trying to kill people in our country. Yeah, please.
The House Judiciary Committee has subpoenaed. I wondered if you'd prefer to see that as a hearing so that the American public can see the questions and the responses more easily.
I'd rather see it probably at a hearing. Look, Jack Smith is a thug. He's a failed prosecutor. He's a bad man. He's an evil man. He hurt a lot of people. Forget about me. I do this stuff, but I got indicted many times by a guy that they were dismissed. He's a bad guy. He's a sick man. There's something wrong with him, actually. I think Jack Smith is a sick man. There's something really wrong with him. I'd rather see him testify publicly because there's no way he can answer the questions. But Biden knew this was going along. Kamala knew it was going along. And there's a lot of things happening right now that they don't like. One of the things is the auto pen. Everything he signed, almost, with the exception of the pardon of his wonderful son, Hunter, just about everything he signed was not signed by him. He had no knowledge of it. He didn't know what it was. People sitting around the beautiful Resolute desk knew exactly what it was. And those people are guilty, in my opinion, of a major crime. Everything that was signed by that auto pen, the man operating the auto pen, and I'm sure there are more than one because I think some of the people can operate it themselves. Some of the high-level people operated themselves. They would just go in and sign his name with an auto pen onto very important documents, not only pardons, but policy, maybe CAFE standards, okay, as an example. Who signed CAFE? If you ask Biden, what's a CAFE standard? He would have absolutely no idea. He'd say, where is the CAFE located? The guy didn't know anything. Look, that just shows you what a rigged election can be, but you understand what I'm saying. Thank you.
You've had conversations
I did. With Jensen.
Right. So
smart man.
In your conversations with him, have you kind of given a sense of where you are with export controls and the types of chips that the media can get to China?
Sure. He knows very well. He's done an amazing job. NVIDIA, very good. Yeah.
Mr. President, when do you expect for phase 2 of the Gaza peace plan to be implemented? And do
Well,
you
it's
think-
going along well. You know, they had a problem today, I understand, with a bomb that went off. Hurt some people pretty badly, probably killed some people. They're telling me it just happened. But it's going under. We have peace in the Middle East. People don't realize it. We have tremendous support. 59 countries. There's tremendous support. But phase 2 is moving along. Yeah, it's going to happen pretty soon.
Mr. President, did you speak with House Republican leadership about your decision to pardon Congressman Henry Cuellar? And are you concerned that you made a vulnerable Democrat perhaps less vulnerable with that decision?
It didn't matter. He's a respected person. He was treated very badly because he said that people should not be allowed to pour into our country. And he was right. He didn't like open borders. He was on the border. You know, he represents a very respected man. He represents the people on the border, and he saw what was happening. And as soon as he made that statement, I then said, I'll bet he gets indicted.
Good morning.
And that's what happened. You know, I put out my truth from that. Well, I did a truth, wonderful truth, we love truth. But what happened is he got indicted for speaking the truth. And his wife got indicted, Imelda. And that's sort of a first. Usually they leave the wives alone, right? Don't they, Congressman? Typically they indict somebody, put him in jail for the rest of his life, but the wife could just sit home and cry, or she'll find a new man. You know? A lot of times they find a new man that makes them much happier. In fact, a lot of times they like that man better than the one that's in jail.
Mr. President, thank you. The mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Frey, is saying that he's actually proud to have the largest Somali community in the country, and his police chief.
Well, then he's a fool.
Well, his police chief is also
I
saying
wouldn't be
that
proud to have the largest Somalian. Look at their nation. Look how bad their nation is. It's not even a nation. It's just people walking around killing each other. Look, these Somalians have taken billions of dollars out of our country. They've taken billions and billions of dollars. They have a representative, Ilhan Omar, who they say married her brother. That's a fraud. She tries to deny it now, but you can't really deny it because, you know, it just happened. She shouldn't be allowed to be a congresswoman, and I'm sure people are looking at that. And she should be thrown the hell out of our country. And most of those people, they have destroyed Minnesota, okay? Minnesota, you have an incompetent governor. You have a crooked governor. He's crooked as hell, but he's incompetent. Walz he should be ashamed. That beautiful land, that beautiful state.
Yeah.
It's a hellhole right now. And the Somalians should be out of here. They've destroyed our country. And all they do is complain, complain, complain. You have her. She's always talking about the Constitution provides me with, go back to your own country and figure out your Constitution. All she does is complain about this country. And without this country, she would not be in very good shape. She probably wouldn't be alive right now. So Somalia is considered by many to be the worst country on earth. I don't know. I haven't been there. I won't be there anytime soon. I hope. But what the Somalian people have done to Minnesota is not even believable. It's not even believable.
Hey,
and a lot of it starts with the governor. A lot of it starts with Barack Hussein Obama, because that's when people started coming in. And you have to have people come in that are going to love our country, cherish our country. They want to kiss our country goodnight. They talk about our country. We want them to pray for our country. This is not the people living in Minnesota. And she's a disaster. She should not be, and her friends shouldn't be allowed. Frankly, they shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople, okay? They shouldn't even be allowed to be congresspeople because they don't represent the interests of our country. Anybody else?
The automakers spent billions on meeting the Biden EV rules. Should they be able to recoup that somehow, given the change? And there's a question about
doing it. No. I'm not letting them recoup. They're going to do just fine. You know how they recoup? From this point forward, they'll do very well.
Can you also talk about the USMCA and what you're thinking about renegotiating that with the automakers?
Well, that's just an ongoing thing. It expires in about a year. And we'll either let it expire or we'll maybe work out another deal with Mexico and Canada. But look, Mexico and Canada have taken advantage of the United States, like just about every other country, in all fairness. It's not them, I'm not blaming them. But every country, because we had stupid people running our country. We had a lot of stupid people running. That's why we have $38 trillion in debt. But the beautiful thing about the tariffs is we'll start paying off that debt. The money coming in, they're finding money in our country now that they never knew existed. The other day, $30 billion. Where did it come from? I said, why don't you check the tariff show? They said, sir, that tariff hasn't started yet. It doesn't start till January. I said, no, it started 2 months ago. They called back, sir, you're right. It was from tariffs. No, we have a whole different country. I hope the Supreme Court, I pray that the Supreme Court understands the importance of the sensible, really, I mean, this would be country threatening if something happened with regard to that. You know, the people that brought that case are bad people. They're very bad people. They hate our country. They represent foreign countries.
RT, really?
Including China. But they represent, and China's paying us a lot of money now in tariffs. But they represent people that really don't like our country much. And I know some of them, and they're scum. In my opinion, they're scum. They're absolute scum. And they're not suing for any good reason. They're just suing to see if they can stop it because they make money if this country does badly. You know? So, but we're taking in trillions of dollars. We're stopping wars. We have great national security because of tariffs. And then to think that we have to even go and justify this. The reason a lot of these people, I can tell you this, maybe we would have had the political people. We wouldn't have these people without tariffs. The people that are up here from Stellantis and Ford and General Motors, great companies, including this gentleman, right? They wouldn't be here today if we didn't have tariffs. They'd be building their plants in Mexico and other places. They're leaving Mexico and they're leaving Canada. They're leaving because they ripped off our country. They took our businesses away from us. And now because of tariffs, they're all coming back. So it's a great thing. Thank you very much, everybody.
Mr. President, you call Somalians garbage.
Thank you, Thank
Oh, you guys. Okay. That was a lot. Let me grab a couple of your comments before I wait. Where are you guys? Okay, so that was a lot. I'm sorry, you guys. It did take me a while to get through that video. I'm not here to convince you guys to be Republican or Democrat, but Donald Trump has been doing a lot, and he has not even had a full year in office yet. Hey, Jerome, Shinobi. Hey, I see some Trump supporters. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys are for Donald Trump. Okay, that was a lot, Shinobi Zen. Do I have any Republicans in the house? Oh, you guys. Let me catch some of y'all comments before I get out of here. Both administrations are correct the last. Oh, that's too much for me to read. I get it. Okay. That was a lot, y'all. 1. Okay. Aaron, really? Thank you, Aaron. All right. I just try to see where you guys are. Shinobi says it's going to take him 8 years to clean up other people's mess. It's going to be a lot. Paul says, MAGA baby, Carceno. I vote for both and independent. I don't mind independent thinkers. I don't mind them at all. I just can't understand liberals, to be honest with you. But hey. According to the Wall Street Journal, 97% of all the tariffs are being paid for by the foreign exporting companies. Tariffs has been so good for this country. And we already spoke about Trump accounts, babies next year under the age of 10 getting $1,000 from birth. And that money will gain interest and you can't touch it until that child is 18. Donald Trump is doing some phenomenal things. I'm not here to preach about Trump because I don't want y'all to think I'm a Trumper, but he is the commander-in-chief. Okay. Did I miss anything? No. Oh wait, let me hide that. Raising the minimum wage. I mean, the retirement age destroyed minimum wage. Bush baby. No one is getting any checks. Thank God, because that money will be deposited into a Trump account. We already have free tax college funds. Where, Eric? Yes, he is the sitting president. Okay. I'm an independent who voted for President Trump. Democrats are now mostly socialists and communists. Uncle Claude says, I give him a C+. Biden was a D. Who's getting free, tax-free college funds? Because I'm in college and I don't get anything that's free. I don't. So, any other final thoughts for me? Israel is still attacking, occupying Palestine. He did a lot in Gaza. You can't blame him for everything. You can't. So I will be back later today. If I'm not back later today, then I will be back tomorrow. Let me do some research because there's some things that I'm looking at. You guys, I'm praying for this country. That's because you're not a Somalian. Salty Savage, how are you tonight? How are you? It's weird we have to pay on a planet that's supposed to be free. Well, we have to. Manuel, have a good night. What's free, Shinobi? We have to pay our way. We need a reasonable person to run for president, Donald Trump and JD Vance in 2028. Okay. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. I will see y'all later. Feel free to like, comment, and share, and I will see you guys later. Thank you for hanging out with me. Bye. Aaron, I hear you. Good night, Carcino. Carcino, thank you for coming up so much, friend. Thank you, guys. Next show should be your complete breakdown on what are tariffs. I don't mind doing that, Bush baby. Carcino, thank you. Bye, DF, JC. Thank you, guys. I will talk to y'all later. Stay safe, and thank y'all for hanging out. Thank you. Democrat don't clean up their own arses. Paul. Bye, y'all.